Hello guys, this is Shar. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for returning. Now I'm here to discuss the exclusive digital clip that came out on the OWN YouTube channel. These are clips that don't make it to the show for whatever reasons why. And this was a scene from the horse range where the crew was sitting around at the campfire, and this therapist that I guess the Fletchers put on site for the trip to speak with everyone. My first problem with that is, Nell, why is it a therapist there? And why didn't anyone know? Everyone should have known that there was going to be a therapist there. And then it's stupid. Why is it a therapist at a horse range? And again, why didn't everyone know? Because she knew that people was going to feel uncomfortable with that and wasn't going to be on board with that. They came on a trip just to have fun. You know, if people end up working out some of their issues that they may or may not have had with people or one another, that's great. But, you know, don't force people to work ish out on Nell Fletcher's time. It's got to be on their time. That's the first thing. The second thing is, why did this therapist single out KeKe? The first thing she said is, I'm not trying to single you out, sis, but you did. That's wrong. Because what it is that Miss Nell then set her up. And when I say set her up, she didn't sat there and told the therapist some preliminary information about everybody or the nature of everybody's situation or whatever. Told her a little something about KeKe or whatever. And she sat around and heard all these little tidbits from everybody. So now she wants to, you know, give her little synopsis of this and that, this and that, this and that. First of all, you know, and I'm no therapist. However, I do have a best friend, one of my best friends, that is a licensed clinical therapist. And I do read a lot of psychology books. I was going to go for psychology, but I just didn't. I went in a different route. I just went for healthcare administration. But I was really going to go into psychotherapy. I love it. I'm interested in it. And I read the books just for fun. But I still am not one, though. So it's a lot of stuff I don't know. However, I do know to go so far as to talk about someone's inner child, you have to talk to them. Like you would have had to talk to her and you know, really get an intake on her and really have talked to her for several days, several weeks, maybe even several months to even know what she's dealing with. Because basically the inner child is just this inner personality that comes out at certain times, at certain moments, for certain reasons. So just because you done got little tidbits from this person and that person and this person, you feel like you can honestly say this woman haven't dealt with her inner child? Really? Like, as a therapist, I would be like, I don't even want to do that, not even on the show. Like, can I say something else? I don't want to say that because, you know, I would have to really talk to her for, you know, a specific amount of time to be able to recognize her, you know, bouts with her inner child or lack thereof. You know what I mean? But no, she was literally saying that the woman hadn't dealt with her inner child. How do you know, or how does she know, rather, that KeKe wasn't being rude and short and condescending and combative because she was embarrassed? Because that's what I think. I don't know if the woman has dealt with her inner child or not, but I feel like she was being rude and combative and condescending in that moment because she was embarrassed, because she's doing this in front of everybody. And everybody knows that she's already dealing with a substance abuse problem and all of that, even though she's in remission or whatever. But I'm just saying, but they don't know that. It hasn't even come out yet or whatever. But the point is, she knows that everybody knows her background. So, you know, she probably is embarrassed and probably pissed But the thing is, KeKe, you probably shouldn't have come. Some people probably be saying it's just as good for you because you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't have wanted to come at the last minute when you knew you haven't really reached out to these people in months, and you had not apologized, and months or a month had gone by. So as far as I'm concerned, if you hadn't apologized in a month, you wasn't going to. I mean, it could have happened down the line, but the point was she wasn't trying to apologize to those people. Neither set of the Scotts. Otherwise, she would have done it already. Don't come on this trip trying to apologize just to get, have access to the trip. So this is kind of sort of what you get. But on an ethical note, or lack of ethics, I feel like the therapist lady is wrong. Because don't do no little mock intervention on some little mess that people done told you here and there in 5 or 10 minutes. Or just a little mess that you done heard. Them people could have been lying. She don't know that. People sitting around saying their perspective, their opinion, and you basing what they say or what they told you and gonna actually say this woman haven't dealt with her inner child. I feel like that was wrong of her. And I feel like it was wrong of Nell. And I feel like it's wrong of the producers to try to set her up like that and had his therapist talk to her on this show in front of everybody. And then to add insult to injury, everybody looking at her. So yeah, she's probably pissed and she's mad. So that's why she's being rude and condescending like that. But when the therapist said, well, do you recognize the child right now, inner child coming out right now? She was like, no. And Martell had the nerve to mock her and was like, what? Martell, you are the last person to talk. You are the last person to talk. You are the last person to act like somebody's being rude or unruly, difficult. You need a therapist. You've been summoned to take therapy. You just keep getting out of it. They said Carlos King had addressed you and told you had to do therapy in order to stay on the show or to continue to do scenes with Mel or whatever the case may be. So he needs to shut up. He was the last person to have been making any type of noise or sighing or breathing hard or anything during that part. But I'm going to play this little clip because I don't want this video to be long. I didn't want to play the video because I didn't want to get struck with copyright strike. So let's just listen to it.
With all sincerity, I hear a woman, right, who has a lot of growing and healing to do. And it's only because we're talking, and I'm not singling you out, because we all have growing and healing. But I want you to know personally, that 5-year-old little girl is still in you. And she shows up. And because of that unhealed wound, when you show up, you're unable to identify with other people.
I have
like
unhealed wounds from things that she's done that led up to this moment. That
Right.
5-year-old girl ain't got nothing to do with this.
But it does though, sis.
No.
It does though. And
If
I'm
that's
not
the case,
saying
I'll
this
be that
to you.
5-year-old girl with everybody in my life. I'm not.
Okay, but even in this moment, because listen, this is the thing. If she was healed, no matter what situation you walked into, your temperature wouldn't change.
And it didn't. It never did.
So you
My
telling
temperature
me,
did not change. Period.
Okay, let me tell you something right now. Do you see this 5-year-old girl showing up in this conversation?
I guess.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Shut up, Martell.
Right here, sis. She's present with us.
That's fine.
Because you see her, there she
Martell,
goes.
really? You gonna look at her
That's
like
fine.
that?
I'm okay with that.
Turning your
Because
head
I
to the
have-
side
I have my
when you are the
only
most
intentions for you
unstable,
is so
emotional
pure.
person there.
It's so pure. But that 5-year-old girl won't release you, sis. And so you're unable to hear what I am trying to give to you.
Yeah, I don't hear
Right?
it.
Because you feel attacked. And I'm not attacking you. I would never. I want nothing but the best for you. But until you are able to sit in a setting with someone and heal her and let her know it's okay to sit down. I got you, baby girl. And you talk to her and you release her and you let her know she's no longer needed because KeKe, the grown woman, is there and she knows how to handle situations, even when they are disagreeable. But until she's healed, sis, a lot of your relationships will be problematic. And I don't even know you like that.
I don't have any problematic relationships.
But I know.
None. All of my best friends, and I have like 8 best friends who are still best friends. No problems. No problems with my friends.
You're right. Let me say
Now,
this.
Scott's just looked at themselves and started smirking.
She is the only person I ever had problems with.
Males is
I think I need
face.
to re-say it.
My husband, that's it.
Let me
now,
say
I do have problems with him.
I don't think KeKe is really hearing what's being said. I don't think she wants to receive it even. And that's okay. She doesn't.
I feel like she don't want to receive it because it may or may not be accurate.
This way, okay? I'm gonna say it differently. It's gonna be
Because the woman haven't spoken with her long enough to really be able to assess her, in my opinion.
right? For people to implant wonderful and amazing tools for you because you won't receive them.
Because I feel like all of that is pointless. At this point, what was done was done. There's no rewinding. Now, I apologize. I've acknowledged my wrong. I apologize. But we have decided not to move forward in this relationship. I'm so at peace with that.
Yeah.
I don't want to move forward. I don't want to talk about it. Ain't nothing left I got to say. I'm done. What do we need resolve for? I apologize for what I did wrong. We can move our separate ways and we can occupy the same space and not even see each other. And I'm okay.
All right, so that was basically the gist of the video. A mock or semi intervention with everybody sitting around, and I truly feel that's wrong. KeKe has some things she needs to work on, like so many of us, but everybody got different things that they need to work on. But KeKe, one of KeKe's things is her temper and her emotions. She can't control them. She lets them get the best of her, and I feel like that was the wrong thing to do, like to have her sitting around in front of everybody else with the therapist. It was just wrong. So of course she's going to be combative because she's lightweight embarrassed. You know what I mean? And not only that, I don't feel like the therapist knew enough about her or about her background, her story, and to be able to even discuss her inner child. Like, really? The inner child stuff don't even come out when people are sitting up talking to a therapist, but for like months, maybe however long it takes for a therapist and their patient or their client to get deep into that person's, like I said, innermost thoughts about their shortcomings, their insecurities, this, that, and the other. She could have very well, and I feel like she was combative and rude because she was embarrassed. And like she said, it had nothing to do with her innermost child. I feel like it had something to do with she was embarrassed. So that's why she was speaking to her that way and being short and being condescending. But you guys drop down in the comments. Tell me what you think. Do you feel like it was right for the therapist to be there? One, do you feel like Nell was right to have a therapist there and not tell anybody? Two, do you feel like it was right for the therapist to single KeKe out and to talk to her about some really heavy stuff, which is her innermost child, in front of everybody? I felt like that was blatantly wrong. Like wrong on so many levels. That's serious business, and it's personal. It's personal to that person. Like, you could be offended, embarrassed, and all these things if some therapist is telling you you haven't dealt with certain things from your childhood in front of your peers or your enemies or frenemies. They can use that information and talk about you, put that on social media. I mean, it's already on a show. So, production, they were wrong for doing that. Everybody was wrong. Production, Carlos King, because everything got to go through him first. The producers, that's what I mean, production. Miss Nell for having a therapist there in the first place. Apparently they got with Miss Nell and was like, oh, okay, you know what? Since KeKe coming, let's have a therapist there. Then we're going to have her talk to him. I mean, would Kimmy would have appreciated the therapist sitting there talking about her and her husband's issues, her shortcomings with sex, or how she would feel, if the therapist just started running off to her how your husband don't appreciate you, he's not respecting you, not respecting your body, your space, da da da. You know what I mean? She was okay with that other therapist. I can't even think of his name, the older man. She was okay with it then to a degree because they knew what they were up for. They were going for couples retreat, couples therapy. So they already knew what time it was. This, they ain't know nothing about no therapist being there. You know what I mean? And not only that, the nature of the relationships in that circle with the men and the women, it ain't all together good right now. So you may not want your enemy or somebody that you're not really cool with to know certain stuff about you, especially negative stuff or stuff that you could be vulnerable about. So yeah, you guys drop down in the comments. Tell me what you think about this clip. Like, was it wrong or were they right? Do you agree or do you disagree? Drop down in the comments, like the video, subscribe if you have not already, hit your notifications, and until next time, ciao.